So we are a little on time, but if Adriano's happy, I would like to invite him up. So this is the keynote on SDG, Sustainable Development Goals 18, and Hong Kong's role. Okay, Professor Adriano Autino is the CEO and former president, co-founder, SRI ambassador, and Space Renaissance International SRI. And he will be speaking with us about SDG 18 and Hong Kong's role. Thank you.
So thank you very much, everybody. Okay, thank you. And thank you very much for having me here in this important conference. I am very, very happy and honored to be here and to talk to this distinguished assembly. So today I will talk about Space 18 SDG for Sustainable Development and Peace on Earth and beyond. First of all, let me say that the people who have spoken before inspired me a consideration about and this was also a question that my friend Greg gave to me, inviting me here. What is the role, could be the role of Hong Kong in this, let me say, in this critical point in history, where the new space economy is blessing in all the world and having a more and more important role in the global economy. Let me say that the space economy is driving the global economy now. All the rest of the economy is very precarious, but not space. Space is rising a lot. So I think the role of Hong Kong is very much important in this situation, because Hong Kong can be seen as, well, using computer science language, I could say a driver, a bidirectional driver for communication and collaboration between the Western world and the Eastern world, between Europe and America on one side, and the Asia world on the other side. So this is a crucial point of communication between these two worlds, and I think this role will be more evident in the immediate future and in the next future. And the role of Hong Kong will be considered precious by both the worlds, because our civilization needs a lot collaboration and fair competition. Collaboration and fair competition. This is should be our future in space. However, okay, let's try to go ahead. I think this is moving. Yeah. So these are the 17 SDGs as we know them. This agenda was issued by the United Nations in 2015 as a collection of goals to be attained within 2030. So as you can see, there is an empty slot on the bottom right point, and that slot should be filled up with an 18 SDG. It focused on space development, on civilian space development. Why? So 2015 can be considered a turning point in history. Reusable rockets have changed the paradigm. The cost of launch is coming down between 3 to 5 orders of magnitudes. Space is no longer the province of the few, and low-cost access to space offer opportunities to the many. So this is the changing of a real changer of paradigm. Since 2004, when Scale Composite won the X Prize competition, spending only $30 million to put a vehicle with a human on board at suborbital altitude. So that historical event demonstrated that cheap access to space is possible and began the new space age. So space is the answer to the crisis of civilization In space, we have everything what we need. We have resources, abundant resources in the solar system. Space can, having abundant resources in the solar system, space can work as a factor of obsolescence for the reservoirs on Earth. So we don't need anymore to fight for the scarce resources remaining on Earth, because in the solar system there is plenty. Sorry. Okay, I learned how. Energy. The sun is beaming energy in space, very much more than what we can earn on Earth. Territory, new ground, new raw materials in the asteroids, on the moon, and everywhere. Is a resource for environment, because moving to space, the Earth environment can lift from the burden of our industrial development. It is a resource for population growth. In the solar system, there is place and resources for 3 people. So not only 8 billion as we are now on this planet. And it is a very important social factor. Civilian space development can restart the social lift, allowing the poor to become wealthy, and the wealth to become more wealth, and so on, and everything can restart moving over the crisis, a terrible crisis that is gripping our society now. Trying to go ahead. Why is not going? Okay. So 2025 to 2030 can be considered a crucial crisis point in history, because we have 2 opposite vectors that are fighting to win. One is the low-cost access to space that favor and help the development a lot. And the other one is the social, financial, environmental, and geopolitical crisis that is trying to keep humanity and China to the bottom of the gravitational well. So the conflict between these 2 forces will determine our future. And everything this will happen from now to 2030, during these 5 years. Humanity must invest in providing for the future before the travails of the present overwhelm our basis for rational action. So that sentence, that humanity's launch window may close soon, was told to me by Greg Marignac. Greg Marignac is one of the 2 supporters of the X Prize many years ago. And he is, and I agree with him, that the launch window, that the historical window in which humanity can step to the star, can start moving to the star, can close due to heavy social problems that can prevent our movement, our evolution. So a non-exhaustive list, some urgent tasks that should be fulfilled before 2030. Fully reusable launch vehicles, and the Starship of SpaceX is launching today its 6th flight test, orbital flight test. That's very important. A fully 100% reusable launch vehicle will determine another downsize of the cost of all launches. Permanent moon base producing propellant in space is the next goal, is to start producing propellant in space. That will downsize the cost of all space missions. Experiment with simulated gravity. It is now 60 years that we work with low or zero gravity, and that's enough. We need now to have spinning space stations in order to start working and simulating and Hello? Okay. It depends which direction I am speaking. Okay. However, maybe this one works better. Thank you. Thank you very much. Because, yeah, if we only think about exploring space, then zero gravity for a few months is not a big problem. Even if people that stayed in orbit for 1 year, like the astronauts, NASA astronaut Scott Kelly, had serious health problems when coming back to Earth. However, for astronauts, for explorers, low gravity demonstrated not to be such a big problem. But if we think to work and live in space, then low gravity is a problem that should finally be properly faced and resolved. The same is life protection from cosmic radiation. That's another big problem that should be, that is not enough, it doesn't have enough priority in the programs, in the space program. So mining the moon and the near-Earth asteroids, and it is listed at the end, but it's not the end. This is a very important point. Orbital debris recover and reutilization. So not only mitigate the problem of space debris, but start to use space debris. They are a value. They are in orbit. They costed a lot to put them in orbit. It's time to start reusing. Okay, so these are the 17 SDGs, a little bit reorganized in some kind of hierarchical view. We can see that the three SDGs, 7, 8, and 9, that are affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, and industry innovation. These three SDGs support all of the rest of the SDGs. All of the social SDGs depend from economic and industrial growth. If we don't have growth, we can do anything. We cannot make, we cannot get the poverty eliminated. We cannot get hunger eliminated. We cannot get environmental goals neither, because we have to understand that we are more than 8 billion. This is a complex society. We cannot think that abandoning technological means we can solve the problem. No, we need more technology, more science if we want to try to resolve some environmental problems too. So this is the point. There are 3 key pillars. If these 3 key pillars don't work, nothing will work of the other SDGs. Everything will be just another unfeasible utopia. So what does it need? Is that sustainable as we are, closed on Earth? No, it's not sustainable. We need an 18 SDG, that is civilian space development, space for all on Earth and beyond, that can alone sustain all the rest of the castle, giving resources, giving perspective, giving work, giving jobs, giving economical growth and everything. So this is the rationale, no, that is behind the proposal of an 18 SDG. Okay. Yeah, something more should be said about that. If we remain closed on Earth, as soon as these 3 tools, let me say tools, begin to work again, they will crash with the environmental goals. Because if we restart increasing industry on Earth, immediately we will have again more pollution, more climate change, more of all of these things that are very dangerous for us. So, and why? Because energy demand is increased by electronic and web society. Scarcity of key materials also, the rare earths that are needed to raising new resources, that are needing to produce electronic devices and to make batteries for feeding the electronics. Pollution and oceans over exploitation and social conflicts will be maybe increase it again if we restart developing only on Earth, closed on Earth. Um, okay. So something more has to be said about energy, because I think energy is, I wouldn't say the only key issue, but is for sure one of the main issues. Energy demand is skyrocketing. Why? Because we have now big data centers, we have supercomputers, we have all of these things that are needed to run the artificial intelligence and the electronic money and the electrical mobility to make batteries and all these kind of things. So it was estimated that the energy required to run all of these tools is comparing to the power needed by Iceland now, just to give some terms of comparison. So the big data farms cause unbearable increases in energy bills in the surrounding areas. So the people don't want, they are manifesting against the installation of big data centers because they are seeing their energy bill to rise up in an unaffordable way. So one proposal could be, why don't put big data servers in orbit or on the moon? Somebody is already working on that possibility. And that will be very important because as for the orbital debris recovering and reuse, also moving data centers in space could be factors of industrialization, of space industrialization of the orbit and the cislunar space and the Lagrange points and so on. So a very important factor. And of course, it's also important because if we want to put a data center in space, there will be humans. Humans will be needed, not only robots, because robots are useful, but we cannot think that space is for robots. Space is for humanity to grow up and expanding. So just to give an idea of how much the new technologies, artificial intelligence, etc., impact on the energy demand, these charts were required to generated by Perplexity. This is one of the artificial intelligence tools that are now available online. And so you can see how the energy demand is started to grow up very much from 2020. And that on the right, you see the percentage impact of emerging technologies on the rise of the energy demand. So what can we say about all of that? The green transition, the so-called green transition, has failed. Why? Because the renewable sources are growing, and that is good, but the fossil sources are growing too. Why that? Because the two of them together cannot pay the growing demand of energy. So the two sources, renewable and fossil, are growing together and are not equal to fulfill the demand. So a space economy is very much needed now. The green economy is maybe can do something, but is not sufficient to the task. A space economy is very much needed. Moving industrial development to geolunar space, place big data farms in orbit, generate electrical power in space. All of this can really make the difference. Okay, so this chart shows how the space development can impact on the different SDGs for energy, for beneficial growth, civilian astronautic industry, peace and collaboration, and environment, and cosmic safety, something that is not listed in the 17 SDG, but it's important, because if we go to master our space region, we will also be able to defend from cosmic impacts. Okay, Peace is another very important thing, of course, because yeah, some years ago, somebody started to say, but we are too many. There are too many of us on this planet. And so the immediate primitive answer is, okay, if we are too many, we have to reduce ourselves. But reducing, unfortunately, we had pandemics that reduced a little bit, many millions, but not enough on the, on the demographic scale, big demographic scale. So a bigger monster is needed to satisfy the first immature reply, of course, that we have to decrease. So the war, global war, World War III should be needed to get an holocaust of some billion people on Earth. So think about that. If we are not humanist, we don't care about that. Who cares? Some billion people will die, and then someone will survive and will continue. That's not true. I think from the cultural point of view, from a philosophical point of view, our civilization cannot bear an holocaust of several billion people. It will be impossible to continue the history, the progress of civilization with that big sense of guilty on our shoulders. And also think about that if we will have such a civilization crash, most of people, surviving people, will say the guilty is of science and technology that went too much ahead and the moral remained behind. And therefore, we will not have anymore an inspiration to the progress as we had in the Middle Age and in the Renaissance history and so on. The common sense will be, okay, forget science. Science was our evil. So that will be, after a giant holocaust, what will be the common sense? That what does it mean? It will mean a jump back in history to the Stone Age and before. So so our reply is a little bit more mature to many humans on one only planet. Let's move. Let's go outside. Let's start growing outside. Okay, the world is in war. We have 120 conflicts on the world. And this this growth initiated in 2000 when we had 30 conflicts, and now we have 120. That's incredible. But it is credible if we think that, to the fact that, okay, thank you. Let's go ahead. So civilian space development is a strong factor of peace because it can reduce the need for resource wars. And we have also another important thing that was mentioned by Frank White with his theory of the overview effect. That all the astronauts that went in orbit, seeing Earth from space, they don't see the frontiers, of course. And they see the Earth as a small ball in the middle of nothing, and come back with a completely changed mentality, seeing humanity as a whole, as a united thing, not to be conflict and so on. There is a tradition of collaboration in space, starting with the Apollo-Soyuz meeting to the Mir station and to the ISS. This is the tradition of the space community. They never have fight in space. And now, okay, I'll try to go quick on this. There is a kind of permanent space revolution because all the countries, all the people of Earth want to participate to the space adventure. There are, at COPUOS, there's the Committee for the Pacific Uses of Outer Space, the UN branch. There are about 20 countries that don't have a space agency, but they are member of COPUOS. So they want to enter the space race. And our responsibility is to help them, not to keep them away. So, okay, stepwise strategy, but yeah, I already talked about that, so I will not. By the way, you can have this presentation at the end in a PDF format, so let me go quickly. Okay, space policy. Okay, so this is very important. Our campaign at UN to add the Space 18 SDG to the UN 2030 agenda, update the UN Space 2030 agenda, adding civilian space development that's completely absent so far. And yeah, this is the first time we are announcing this thing in public to have a UN flag planted on the moon. So, what does it mean? Let's go to this. So SRI is the organization that I have co-founded many years ago, is proposing to both the Artemis and the ILRS coalitions, whoever will be the first to set foot on the moon, to plant a United Nations flag on the moon first, before they plant their own flag. That, of course, they will. It's worth to do, because if they will be first, they want to put their flag, and it's normal. But before doing that, we ask them to put a UN flag on the moon, to mean that they are there in the name of the whole humanity. And that, I think that will be a very important point, a very important sign given to all the people of Earth, that the space community want peace, want collaboration, want fair competition, and that we have to stop wars and to ban any weapon in space also. Something that is already in the Outer Space Treaty, but it only talks about nuclear and mass destruction weapons. We propose to ban any weapon in space. That is also very important. So, okay, I'm going quickly to the end. What is the 18 SDG next steps? We are talking with about 10 different countries that could be they are UN state members, and they could maybe adopt our proposal and officially present it to the UN General Assembly in 2025. 2025 is maybe the last year to positively propose an 18 SDG to be added. Okay, I have finished.
Thank you very much, Professor Autino.
These are the 106 organizations of the coalition.
Thank you. So give a warm round of applause. Thank you very much for sharing with us the ultimate goals and sort of the interrelationship between the SDGs. The presentation will be available for everyone, and if you have any questions, please do meet with Professor Autino at the coffee break. In the meantime, I can ask Professor Autino to be in the middle of the stage and invite Mr. Fletcher Eng to present you with a certificate of appreciation and photo. Okay. Yeah. So that. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you, Professor Autino. Thank you.